Mr. Dardar, you're classified as a third felony offender. You're currently serving a 7-year sentence for a simple robbery in Terrebonne Parish. Your parole eligibility is February 17th of next year, 2023. You have an adjusted good time date, May 27, 2024, and you have a full term date, July 30, 2025. Does all that sound correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So let's just jump right in. Let's see. You've been in jail about 4 years?
Ever since July 31st, 2018.
Yeah, so right up a little over 4 years. So let me, you've been there at David Wade since March of 21.
Yes, ma'am.
Year and a half, 18 months. So let me just say this. I do notice that you started taking some programs in 2020. I see the page of 2021, you did 100 hours. You've taken parenting. Sometime in this year, you've done Thinking for Change. And all that was done without the hope of getting any good time credits. Because you don't earn good time, is that right?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Well, yeah, you do earn good time. I see you've lost 210 days of good time.
I can't earn good time, ma'am, but
I do see it's because you're serving a crime of violence with a prior sex offense.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
So you did all that just to get the benefit of the program. That's good to hear. What concerns me is I do notice that you have 17 write-ups. 16 of those were in 2020.
16 of my writers was in 2021, you said?
2020.
2020?
Wait, let me see. Let me be sure. Yep. What was going on? You were in Angola then.
It had pretty much to do with my environment and Michelle. That's her name, right, Michelle? Throughout my life, Miss Mernasa. Throughout my life, you know, I've been to foster care, group homes, and LTI. I've been locked up in the system my whole life. And I just really woke up one day and said I didn't want to keep living my life the way I was living it. So I started to change. I became a Muslim. I started to learn that life is about choices and decision making. I can make one wrong decision that can change my life forever. And I know that these laws are in place for a reason. So that's why I know our family members can walk in stores and everything without having nothing to worry about. So I started working on myself and started to change for the better. That's why I've been 2 years without a write-up.
Well, are you starting to work on trying to get some of that good time restored? I see you lost good time and they took good time from you. Your good release date has changed by about 6 months.
Yes, ma'am. I got to write Warden Gooding to receive that good time back that I lost.
What programs are you currently enrolled in?
I'm enrolled in victim awareness and substance abuse.
So in all your, I see you had, let's see, your third offender, I mentioned that. Your first offense was simple burglary. You received a 2-year probation sentence. I think that was revoked because then in 2014, you had the sex offense.
Right.
And then you have plenty of other misdemeanor offenses that simple battery, criminal damage to property. So I noticed that you refused a sex offender treatment. Can you tell us why?
That was back when I was I think 19 years old, and I was convicted of calling knowledge of a juvenile. Like the girl was 16, and I was 19 years old at the time.
Why did you refuse the treatment? That's the question.
Because I was young and didn't feel like I needed treatment at the time because I was a kid and she was a kid. So I was just young and didn't have no understanding back then.
What is your, I'm glad to hear what you're saying, where you've been in, you've been in jail all your life. Obviously, you've been a follower all your life, and you think you're starting to turn the corner.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
realize you got to do it differently.
I
Can't keep
really-
the same things and expect different results. So
right.
what is your plan?
My plan is I finished school and I got a welding degree and I got some college credits and I've been approved for the 318 job and housing program. And they're gonna provide me with all type of resources that I never been available to have. Like I never been approved for them type of resources. So that's the fresh start. And that'll get me down the right path that I'm looking for and help me get my life right on the right path.
So you got folks helping you with that transition plan. That's good to know.
Yes, ma'am.
You have any family?
All I have is my mother. It's support. That's all I really have. But
Stay in touch with your mom?
and I talk to her once a week.
Oh, good. Did she know you were having a parole hearing today?
Yes, ma'am. She supposed to be watching it on our laptop.
Okay, good.
Mr.
Well,
Mott,
yes, sir.
the residence plan, was approved. He has been accepted in the 318 program in Caddo Parish, Shreveport.
What is that program? I'm not familiar with it.
Mr. Kimball, has spoke to him numerous times. It's, classification officer Kimball. He's gonna explain that to you, Mr. Knight.
Yes, ma'am. The 318 program is a program that we utilize a lot here. What it is they take them in, they provide them with housing, and they provide them with a job. And this is a short-based program, so it doesn't exceed a 6-month period. And from there, they just utilize that program to find. Usually they stay on with those jobs. They can stay on with the job, but they'll over that 6-month period they'll find housing. Assist them with finding housing elsewhere.
Okay, so they do assist with that plan, long-term plan.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, they help them with a long-term plan during a short-term, program there. And we've used the one in Caddo and Washita Parish, several times over the last year or so. We've had several people go to them, and we haven't had any issues with them, Mr. Nazi, that I'm aware of.
Good to hear. Is there anything else you can add at all, Warren Goodwin?
No, ma'am. Shawn is, he's only been here a short period of time. He came here, in 2021 in March, so he's been about a year and a half. He's, just a few days away from having 24 months in without a write-up. All those write-ups occurred at the Louisiana State Penitentiary there at Hunt, during his, time in reception. So he hadn't had any write-ups since he's been here during that time period. So, other than the record, indicates that he has job skills, and I think the people at 318 would be successful in placing them in a job. And a lot of the success will depend on this young man, whether he's truly ready to stay out of jail or not. He tells us that he is. I want to believe him. He's a third offender. He's been incarcerated a good bit of his life and a good bit of his adulthood. So I think it's either make or break time for him, and he assures me he's ready to do well and do the right thing, and he's tired of being incarcerated. I hope he's accurate in his assessment of his ability to remain in the free world.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Mrs. Jackson.
Good morning, Mr. Darda. Let me ask you something. You're from New Orleans, is that correct?
No, ma'am. From Homer, Louisiana.
Okay, but from South Louisiana.
Terrebonne Parish.
Terrebonne Parish.
Where did your mom live?
Can't hear you, ma'am.
Where's
Where
your
did your
mom?
mother live?
Where she live? She live in Homer also.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Let's just say you got released to the 318 program up in Shreveport, and they were able to get you a job, and the people at the job liked you, like to work and they wanted to give you a job in Shreveport. How do you feel about that, given that, how would you feel about that, given that you don't have any family or friends or any support in the Shreveport area?
I feel like that'd be the fresh start that I need, because only person I really like got down there in Homer is my mother. And so I have to make it work up here because I got so many bad memories in Homer that I'm really like trying to forget about. You know, this would be the fresh start. Like I said, I never had these type of resources been available to me before. So I'm just really like focused on getting myself together. I don't really have too many friends or family members down south that I need to focus on. You know, I really just got to focus on myself and get my life together, because when I'm at home down south, I just get in trouble, you know, and I don't want to keep living my life like that.
All right, thank you, Mr. Doyle. I appreciate your answer.
Good morning.
Mom,
You said you were raised in foster care. Is that what you had said earlier?
yes, ma'am. I've been
So what kind of relationship you have with your mom? How many years did you really stay with her?
since I was like 8 years old on up to it was 18 years old when I was able to get released from foster care.
Oh, okay. From 8 to 18, you were in foster care.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. It looks like you were in anger management, but you got removed. What happened?
I completed anger management when I was at Angola. I
Oh.
had a certificate. Yes, ma'am.
So that's why they removed you, because you couldn't retake it.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay, good, good. That's all I had. Thank you, Jim.
Mr. Dardar, is there anything you'd like to say to us before we vote?
Yes, ma'am. I got a one-page letter as a statement that I would like to present it to y'all. It's really important. I'm kind of nervous, so I didn't want to forget nothing that I had to say. So can I read it to y'all? Can I read it to y'all?
Yes.
Thank you. First, I would like to thank the parole board for giving me the opportunity to make a statement. Second, I would like to apologize to my victim and my victim family for everything I put them through. Throughout my life, I've been to group homes, mental health facilities, and juvenile detention centers. I let my childhood affect my adult life for a long time. I woke up one day and told myself that I didn't want to keep living my life the way I was living it. During my years incarcerated, I completed self-help programs and got a GED and welding degree. I also became a Muslim and learned that life is about choices and decision making. I had a chance to mature and learn how to treat people. For a long time, I had an anger problem and was antisocial. As I got older, I learned self-control and to always think before I make a decision, because I can make one wrong decision that can change my life forever. I know once I'm released, if I was to get arrested again, I won't get another chance to have my freedom. So I took that in consideration, and I want to live my life the right way. I've been approved for the 318 DOC funding program. They will provide me with housing and job placement. I've never been provided these type of resources before. This will be the fresh start that I need to get my life on the right path. I know my purpose on earth now. I've been put through everything in my life so I can tell my story and inspire the generation after me that no matter what you go through in life, you can still change and be successful. Even though I had a hard life growing up, I still got my whole adult life to live for. I hope the parole board take my letter into consideration and grant me parole. I haven't had a disciplinary report in 2 years, and I'm not the same person I was when I was arrested. I can honestly say that I'm glad I came to prison this time because I got the rehabilitation that I need and I found my gift and purpose.
Well, you gave that a lot of thought.
Yes, ma'am.
Well said. Well said.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you mentioned in that letter mental health. Are you followed by mental health now?
No, ma'am. I've been to mental health facility when I was younger because I had behavior problems. That's why.
No diagnosis that you're aware of?
ADHD. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, Mr. Gardar, I'll be voting first. I think we're ready to vote. And I'll be honest with you, when I look at your record, it's not, but I'm glad we had the opportunity to talk today. Glad to hear what Warden Goodwin has said, and he shared his conversations with you. And I'm pleased to know that the staff there at David Wade has tried to help with the transition plan. It's because of that, I'm willing to give you a chance. And the things that you said today, because you have that 318 housing plan. I mean, have a good time date in May of 24. I think you're going to apply for restoration of some of your lost good time. That's going to move that date forward. And the fact that you're willing to relocate and get away from the folks in Homa, I think you got a pretty good shot. I hope you get it straight. Just got to reach out to support. So my vote today is going to be grant parole to that 318 housing program. Up to you, sir. That's just one vote.
Thank you.
This is just
I was impressed by your interview today. I thought you presented yourself very well. I think you showed a lot of maturity and a lot of self-awareness in your situation. And because you have the support of the 318 project, and that you recognize it's probably a good thing for you to be in a different area, my vote today would be to grant your early release to the 318 project.
Thanks.
Shawn, I'm from North Louisiana, so I'm aware of that program, and they're gonna provide you with what you need, but you have to let them know what you need. You have to say, they found out you need some clothes, you need a uniform, but you have to tell them. Make sure you speak up and state what you need, and they'll do all they can to try to get it for you. My vote is the same. I grant because of your education, you got a high set, you got a trade, you did well. But I would like for you to enroll in general counseling when you get out, because you're gonna need somebody to talk to one-on-one. You have a lot of things to unpack, a lot of years. And then you'll be subject to random drug screens by probation and parole. Best wishes to you. You can do it. You can do it.
Thank you very much. Thank y'all.
all right, Sean. Good luck to you.
Mr. Knox.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Well, how do you think he did? It's interesting listening to the hearing. I thought, hey, maybe he did do well. He seemed to present well, although I will point out a few things which made me feel quite differently, and I'll bring that up in a second. But I do want to let you know, and thank you, Richard, for the info, that he was revoked. He was revoked August 25th, 2023. This hearing took place October 3rd, 2022. So he lasted less than a year. He was revoked for aggravated assault. I should say arrested, not revoked. He was arrested for aggravated assault, simple battery, and a parole fugitive. It's quite interesting because I'm wondering if we will see a revocation hearing for him. Sometimes they opt not to have revocation hearings because if they don't have that much time left, they'd rather just serve their time, because the period that you wait for your revocation hearing does not count towards your time. And sometimes you might wait 8 months, so you can make the calculation to just revoke yourself, so to speak. The next thing this makes him a third felony offender now, or a fourth. So he's going to be facing a lot of time. And here's the next thing I wanted to point out. Now, I don't know why the board let him just get away with this. When he says, well, I was 19, she was 16. And, when I hear that, I'm thinking, okay, that stuff happens. Maybe you shouldn't be, but it's just not true. The legislation is not written that way. He's lying. So in order to get carnal knowledge of a juvenile, she has to be older than 13, less than 17, and he has to be older than 18, and the age difference has to be a minimum of 4 years. So he wasn't 19 and she wasn't 16. At best, she was 15. And I don't know why the board, who understands the laws of carnal knowledge of a juvenile, wouldn't just call him out and say, dude, you're lying to us. Because he wouldn't have gotten the charge if she was 16. So unless he was 20 and she was, but either way, he's lying. And we see this all the time with these charges. They almost always lie about their age and wait to be called out, or lie about her age. We see these in the parole hearings so often. And knowing that information just makes me wonder, why did they not call him out? I don't get it. And if you're curious how much time he served, even on that carnal knowledge charge, he served a total whopping of 9 months. So I don't even know how he served just 9 months, because the not more than 10 years. I'm trying to see what the minimum sentence is for that. Let's look it back here again. The minimum sentence for serving that a person's committed a second. Not more than 10 years, or both provided the defendant shall not be eligible for his coming set aside as prosecution dismiss. I don't know why doesn't it say the minimum sentence here? I guess they only state that you can't get more than 10 years, but they don't give the minimum. Wow. If I'm reading this correctly, that seems to be that the judge allows carnal knowledge of a juvenile to not have a minimum sentence on the statute for this situation. I don't know that. I remember reading elsewhere that it's a minimum of 2-year sentence, but anyways. So, and here, the previous charge that he was guilty for was he took a cab ride, and when it came to pay, and this was in 2018, he hit the cab driver in the head and robbed him, and that was part of, and that is just like, they should have special protection for cab drivers. Really, they should. It's like, this should be an automatic sentence. I think cab drivers, think about it, it's their job. They're taking a huge risk, and now and they need to be protected. There needs to be some extra thing, in my opinion. I have a friend, a close friend, a childhood friend, whose her father was killed, and he was a taxi driver, and they killed him for absolutely no reason. They had him drive them to Canada, and he drove them to Canada. And then when they got before the border, or they just killed him for no reason. And his mother still shows up to their parole hearings to make sure that they stay locked up. Anyways, he seemed to have fooled everyone. Did he fool you? With that, I'll let you